Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Out and About Science with Mr. G. I'm here today at a YouTube meetup event hosted by JPVideos, and we're down here at the Pioneer Coal Mine Tour down in Ashland, Pennsylvania. We're going to go down into the mines, and then we're going to go on the steam train ride. So right now we're looking at the Loki barn, and you can see the steam train there in the background, and some of the various things they have here. We just got our tickets. Guys, so waiting area here. Looks like that's the entrance to the mine over there.
Yeah, right, you know? Is that jump scare?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Couple information boards here.
Oh, yeah.
They started pushing using the actual pressure of stuff to move, people don't really
And the mine drainage pump.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get distracted easy. I'm like,
And even with like trying to hold it steady, it's still just like...
it is. It's hard. The only way that even as good
Built
as
by the Going Pump Company in the year 1940. 1,000 gallons per minute.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, that's what I'm going to use in Centralia, so we'll see how that works out. I've
The
had
old
some issues with it, though. Maybe
cars,
it'll
gold
take
mines,
some time to figure it out on
come
my-
out.
There's a little bit of learning curve.
Yeah. I'm
A
like
steam train man
here
out of some
filming,
barrels.
and I should have done this before leaving.
Little
home.
grinding
But,
stone.
those cell phone gimbals now, because DJI just released the Mobile 4, so like you could probably get the Mobile 3 pretty cheap.
And some very large pieces of coal that would have come out of the mines. Got a map here.
I would look into the, actually I have it written. That is the Osmo Action, just the regular. You don't want to give something
Set of rollers was used in the bootleg breaker during the Great Depression. Pretty cool. And a little information board about Centralia. Hopefully we'll get a chance to go there later and check that place out. Awesome.
like this one.
Okay, so it looks like we have another type of pump here
Yeah, that's where you can do like
that can take down the mines on the tracks.
right after I was able to do
And you can pause the video, check that out.
I could buy a
What else would you expect to be decorating the ground with but coal? And a coal mine. Okay guys, well, the mine cars just came back up out of the mine, and all aboard! So we begin our journey here today at the Pioneer Mine Tunnel Tour.
Really enjoyed it.
Got Journey with Jay here in front of us. Oh, look at that, that's awesome.
That car bumps too much. You'll just shake. You'll shake. You won't see anything on your camera.
Sit in the middle or in the front part is the best.
Rest of the crew here, they're able to accommodate all of us on here.
You don't punch them like a trinket?
So awesome.
This is the #1 coal region airline now. Hey folks, let me have your attention please. While we're going in and out of the mine, please remain seated. Keep your arms and your elbows inside the car. There's no smoking in the car, no smoking in the mine, or vaping. But if you have cameras, which you do, you can take all the pictures you want.
One question, we use lights?
Sure.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until I tell you to turn them on.
Okay.
And as usual, out and about science with Steve, Mr. G. We got a little birdhouse here. Love to see that. There we go, guys.
He puts them in his pocket.
Awesome efforts here. Get some mining tools in here, guys.
Sure does.
Everyone okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now the problem we have back there in the hill is I'm going to have to ask anybody that's over 125 pounds to get off the cars. We have a weight restriction.
Okay.
So, all right. I don't know why we're getting slippy on there for some reason.
We're going pretty fast.
Anyway, gang.
20 pounds since I was like,
Welcome. That's my right up butt cheek. Anyway, what you're in right now is an old mine. And welcome to Ashland, Pennsylvania and Pioneer Tunnel. What you're in is an old mine that was owned and operated by the Philadelphia Reading Coal and Iron Company. And it operated here from 1911 till 1931 when it shut down because of the Depression. We didn't reopen it again until 1962 when it was opened up as a tourist attraction. They came in and they found that it was in perfect shape and they figured that's what they could do for the community here was to open it up as a tourist attraction. So the mine was, I said it was employed by Philadelphia Reading Coal and Iron, 35 miners, 10 mules, and a handful of boys to do all the work down here. They were expected to get about 400 ton a day out of here in their working conditions. Now, what we're in right now is called a haulage way, and a haulage way runs in a north-south direction, bisecting all the veins of coal which run in the east-west direction. The reason we stop here is because we're at the Mammoth Vein. This is the Mammoth Vein of coal right here, or I should say this is the bottom rock. The vein of coal sits between the bottom rock and the top rock out the end of the mine motor. It's about 55 foot wide here. It'll run 400 feet to the surface, and it'll take a 2,000 foot drop when that same degree of pitch, base it out underneath the town of Ashland, and come up on a mountain about 2 miles north of here. It about 15 miles to the west of it's almost 200 foot in width. It's actually surface mine now. There's no underground mining on the Mammoth right now. But the problem with our mining in this general vicinity here is that we all mine on that degree of pitch. So if we were up northern Pennsylvania, you're going to be in a flat scene in that respect. They can bring equipment in to do their work. We can't bring any equipment in here. Our mining today is identical to what it was in the 1870s, barring the fact that we can use drills, pneumatic drills, and electricity today. But the method of mining is still the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down further into the mine, and we're going to take a walk down a couple of gangways, and we'll show you how this operation is done, because it's totally unique to this specific area, the middle and southern coal fields where we're at right now. Any questions before we go in? No questions?
Now or forever hold your peace.
That's it. No questions?
Do you have an Advil?
Okay, let's get out of here.
We're the entertaining group.
Drift mines usually pitch downhill
Yeah.
when you go out.
Well,
We
this
went
isn't
downhill coming
the
in.
entrance.
Oh.
This is a haulage way. This was cut from inside there out.
Oh, okay.
So the drift is down that way. It goes down about a 5-degree pitch.
Oh, okay.
How did you know that? Are you a
I've
miner?
been here I've come here since the 70s.
Okay, good. What he's talking about is there's 3 types of mines. There's a drift, which goes directly into the side of the mountain. There's a slope, which will follow the veins and the rock. And there's what everybody always calls a mine shaft, which goes straight down. That's the type. And we're a drift. This is the easiest style of mining because it's cut directly into the mountain and across the veins that way. Any other questions?
What's all this stuff growing?
It's Bigfoot's jacket.
Here, this stuff here,
Yeah.
that's called hair. I have no idea, to tell you the truth. It's some kind of a fungus, probably. You know, yeah, it is, isn't it?
New trademark.
Any other questions? No. All right, we'll head on in.
Hair of Newt. Let's go.
You good back there?
It's like riding a wheel.
Roller coaster ever.
We're going to get out.
I was afraid to loop the best. I think that any day of the week.
Alright guys, getting out of the mine cars here. See some of the iron, sulfur.
See, we were all bad, now we gotta look at them.
Some of the quartz crystals, mine, coming out of the rolls. Okay.
Actually, it's pretty small.
Yeah, G85 has 1 inch, I think.
This is a micro 4/3, but the wedge is 1.4. This is the same lens I had on my Sony back in this
You look like a firefighter, second line on the hose.
Oh, Pete here. Pete, wake up.
Raffle,
Come on down here a little bit.
style 2006.
Time's over. Okay, folks, what we're in right now is called a gangway. As I said, a gangway will run in an east-west direction following all the veins of coal, which run in an east-west direction. This is called the 7-foot. Now, this is nothing like the Mammoth vein to work with. This is the top rock here, and here's the bottom rock. Sitting neatly in between there is the vein of coal, which is going to run on a 460-degree pitch where it's going to go 400 feet to the surface, follow that same degree of pitch down 2,000 feet, basing out under the town. Same thing. The only way you get anthracite coal out between top rock and bottom rock is you have to blast it out. You can't dig it out, shovel it out, or pick it out. And the way the miners did this in the old days was they drilled, well, we still do it the same way today, but you drill a series of holes into the vein of coal, which we call shots. Okay, they go in about 5 foot. Now these old lads use what I'm holding in my hand here on is called a gilker or an auger drill. They drilled 70% of this mine by hand in here by using this type of a drill. How, I have no idea, because today you use pneumatic drills and everything else, and it's extremely difficult doing that. But anyway, what they would do is they would drill their series of shots into the vein of coal, and they would put in there in the old days what they called a squib charge. A squib charge, a charge about that long, about that thick around, filled with black powder and fused. They would insert the squibs inside those shot holes, take a tamping rod and tamp them on in, take some mud off the floor, pack it in there. Fuses are hanging out. They would light their fuses. They would cut the fuses first from long to short, depending upon how many shots they have, and they'd light them long to short. Now you have 1 minute to get out of here and go over in the haulage way and sit and wait for your shots to fire off. All shots fire off perfectly. Smoke clears, dust clears, all of that. Then you can go in and we come back in here and we do what we call dressing down. You take a bar and you pull all the loose coal still hanging on the top rock in that respect there. Now, this is just to show you how you drill the shot holes. The actual mining is done up here. So if you come around this way and take a look up above your head up here, you'll see where we do all the mining in that respect. As you can see, it's not very big, that vein of coal. But everywhere where we take the coal out, we have to re-support with timbering. So those little timbers up there are what's helping to hold the roof above us up. The boards running laterally across there, they're called batter boards. That's where you put your feet on while you're working your way up here. And what you're going to do is, this is about 10 foot wide here. You're going to work this up about 50 more feet up, and then we're going to widen it out to a 60-foot section we call the box, which you'll see down in the other gangway down here pretty well. It's a good view of it. These are legs coming down here. We call them legs. What they do is they're holding up the roof. Now, if I told you we were up in Scranton or in the bituminous fields of western Pennsylvania, all the veins lie flat. And what we would be in right now, where our roof would be a foot above our heads. So we would be down like this working. But because we're in this coal, in the different angles of the roof here, we have a good advantage for a nice gangway of being like 8 foot tall because of that section. These devices here sitting in the roof are called roof bolts. What they are is a lag bolt, sort of. There's one right here on top of this timber right here. You can see it sitting on. It drills in about 5 foot. The machine drills it in, and what it does is when it tightens it down, it pulls that roof together real tight to give you really good stability. It doesn't take the place of timbering. You can't take any place of timbering where you take the coal out, you have to re-timber. But the roof bolts do a pretty good job for stability. The rock in this mine is sandstone and conglomerate, so it's a good layered rock in that respect. Let's go down this way a little bit. When you go by this ladder right here, and take a look up here. This is an old manway, I say from back in 1960. It was cut into there. We opened up here, our light bulb burned out up there. So. And that's just an old manway to go up into the working area in there. So you guys with your camera light, you'll be able to see it much better than my headlamp. Here's the old street in that section.
I know you want to get there.
They say the water primarily is called that vein that they were rocking inside of the tree.
Oh, that's cool, petrified tree.
It's real deep.
So again, that's a rock,
Yeah.
but it's an exact shape of the tree. As the tree decayed, the minerals in the water took the exact shape of the tree. Again, imprint fossil here. You guys can see that.
This is what caused a lot of hatred about coal mining and the environment. Because back in the day, they used to pump this water directly right into the river streams and the creeks. And it would look like this down here, this brown substance. I grew up in the late 50s and the early 60s right along the Schuylkill River. And I can't recall a day in my life when I was a kid that river wasn't black, brown, or orange. You know, because they pumped all the coal mining, all the water into the river itself. My dad, an old man, he said, imagine those people in Philly drink that water, you know, from the Schuylkill. So, you take a look up here, guys, and then follow me back down this way.
Saw right there. Or full of coal. And then this is what he's describing what the color was.
Iron sulfur. Like he was saying, this water's pumped out to the Schuylkill River. It flows down towards Philly. We see similar stuff in northeast PA in the anthracite coal mines.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Yeah. Well, then he can pick on me for doing the work. We're all guilty of it.
Okay, guys, I'm going to walk our way back out here. Got Emerald Sound Productions in front of us. There's RJ, JP.
There you go, better. Anybody else?
I got him. I can get a still shot.
I mean, anybody else wanna?
Salty?
Pose with him?
And close up of those drill holes. Like you were saying, now this is a pneumatic one, but in the old days, they had these hand drills cranks. Unbelievable. Alright guys, back into our cars. Run them.
I think he's smarter than me.
Anybody?
We're all here.
Okay. Anyway, this old mine phone here was in here from the very beginning. When you rang it, what happened was it would ring outside to the office and light a light up that said level 1. And then you could call out and you could ask for more timber, more lighting, more tools, more drills, whatever you needed in the course of the day. And this mine has 3 levels to it. We're on level 1, 300 feet below us is level 2, and 300 feet below that is level 3. So it would light up as level 1 in that way. This is one of my favorites, the mine rat. Why do we talk about mine rats? Primarily because, there you go, mine rats have this uncanny ability to be able to detect seismic changes. So, how they got into mines was because we used mules as the system of haulage, and a rat would hide in some hay, and they would bring it in, and a month later, now we got 15 rats, then they just multiplied while they were down in the deep mines. A mine like this adrift, it would be hard for them to stay in here because they could get out. But in the drifts or in the slopes and the shaft mines, these guys were the miners' friends because they could detect that thing. So if we're all standing here and around the corner of the gangway comes a whole herd of rats that are heading that way. Don't hesitate. Say, where are they going? You know? I write a lot about the coal mining industry and stuff, but I was totally intrigued by these guys. So I put down, do you ever see that newspapers.com? It's an app that you can get on, and it'll take you way back to 1700s on any newspapers. So I go back there and I put in there mine rat. Wow, I got all these really good hits. All bunches of stories of how they saved miners because of roof collapses and stuff like this, and the miners praised them. But the one story I did find, which was really funny, and to me it was really cool, worthwhile of everything. In 1888, they had a rat killing contest between 2 collieries. What they did was they shut down during the 4th of July, and they sent one boy down one mine, and another boy down the other mine. And they wanted to see how many rats they could kill in a 24-hour period. So the guy who won, this is God's truth, his name was Ratty McQuaid. Ratty killed 1 ton of rat in a 24-hour period. Who he beat was a kid they called Blinky McIntyre. He beat him by 200 pounds. So I don't know what Ratty got for a prize or anything like that, but it was a big, heavily betting thing between the 2 collieries as to who was going to win that mine killing event. And Ratty, he killed him with this. This is called a sprag. He beat him to death with a sprag down there in the mine. So Ratty's my new hero in life. The rat killing kid of, I don't remember what
Did
color.
they use them, I know it sounds gross, but did they used to eat mines like, or eat rats like squirrels
Who's that?
back in the 1800s
No.
and stuff? Now they do that.
No,
I remember they did.
I have my one uncle was, when he was still alive, he worked in the 1920s in a mine. And he told me they had rats as big as cats in some of the holes. He said, we fed them at lunchtime. He said, they like were your friends. They come out at lunch, they knew we were eating, they feed them, and they go away. They didn't run around chasing anybody or doing anything. They just,
I didn't know if they used them as a source of food.
Archie, that's a t-shirt. If you see a mine rat running, try to keep up.
Sounds like a scene out of Titanic.
We ought to have a visual here, like in 3D visuals in there, you know, all rats going on that way.
Yeah.
Well, down here, this 2 charts here give you a little bit of a better representation of what we're talking about. Sometimes when you're underground, you can't really tell what we're doing. But, by the way, that haulage way was cut from right here out because they could take the cars out to the top here, get on the Loki and take it out to the breaker, which is at the end of the mountain, the Bancroft breaker. We came in here in the southerly direction. We stopped out there at the Mammoth. We were over here in the 7th. This is the Buck. The Buck was a really good working vein of coal and worked its way about 5 to 6 miles to the west of us here. and it had a lot of good shoots on it. The way this mining is done is it's called pitch vein mining due to the degree of the pitch of the vein in coal. We call this striking the vein. The first thing we do is we cut in, we leave a 60-foot section. We take out 60, leave 60, take 60, leave 60, take 60, leave 60. The 60-foot sections we leave in there are called pillars. That's what's holding the mountain up above us. If we took all the coal out at one time, we have a big problem. But first thing though we want to do immediately is we want to open up this first chute here completely to the surface and out on top of the mountain. This is our second escape route in case we have a problem down here. We can all go up the manway ladder here and right out onto the top of the mountain. The other aspect is we can put a mine fan up there and force air down into the working condition, into the working chutes. These brown sections here you see cut through here, through the pillars and the chutes, these are called headings, or we call them monkey headings, primarily because they're very small. You can only crawl around them on your hands and knees. They're principally there for ventilation, to get good air into each working section. Now the way it's done is this. We start out there, like I showed you out there on the 7 foot, you work out, point it up to about 50 foot. That's this section right here. You work up about 50 foot right there, and then you start building this box around that box there. It's about 60 foot wide, 3 foot on each side. Now remember, we're going up this way, so the 3 foot is this way. And the lagging is on here to create the box. So what we do is we climb up in there, you get into the chute. They set their shots across here. They light their shots. In the old days, they climbed out of the box, and they went down, set in the monkey head, waiting for the shots to fire off. Shots fired off, you can come back up in here and get in here. Primarily, on a 60-degree pitch, you don't have anything to stand on. So you don't have time to build platforms and things of that nature. You want to keep going. So what you do is, every day that the coal is blasted out, you will leave it in that chute to accumulate. And then you use it as a work platform to stand on. So here you can see the miner standing on this blasted out coal. When the time comes and you reach up close to the surface and your chute fills up, it is easily offloaded down to the cars at the bottom down here. Sometimes this gate can break here, and then you get a whole load of coal down at the gangway. And the funny part about that is the miner says, "I'll see you tomorrow, guys." And then the laborers have to shovel all of that coal back into the cars and stuff to get them out of there. But that's how it's done. Anthracite mining, extremely dangerous occupation. There's so many things down here that can hurt you, injure you, kill you. One of the big problems we have is we have gassy mines in this general area here. So every time you drill into a vein of anthracite, you can open up a pocket of methane gas. Methane, in its natural state, is completely harmless. But mix it with 1.5% oxygen, now you have one of the most explosive gases in the world. And it's lighter than air, so it's going to hang high to the roof of the mine. You can't smell it, feel it, or taste it in that respect. So, how do you detect this gas? Well, back in the day, the miners today we still utilize them as a miner's safety lamp. The first ones were developed in 1929, they were called a Davy lamp. But to get out, without getting all technical about them, they have a gauze screen around them and a little pan at the bottom with a little flame in there. What happens is the heat from the flame will change the temperature on the inside of that gauze to the temperature on the outside of that gauze. So if you put it up high to look for methane, it'll allow the gas to get there, but it won't explode it. It will just burn it off, and you'll get a big cap on top of your flame there. We call this fire damp, the methane. The other gas we have to contend with is black damp, which is extremely dangerous in old abandoned mines and any places where you can go. Black damp is CO2. What happens is it's from people breathing, animals breathing, using explosives, areas of low ventilation. You get into a pocket of that, you're going to get dizzy. And if you sat down or fell down into it, you're going to be dead because there's no air down there. It's heavier than air, so it hangs down about knee level. You can't smell it, feel it, or taste it either. Today we use what's called a methanometer. It's a little electronic device. You can run that along the seam of anything. You're going to pick up any gas that's out there in the world, any gas. Like what's her name from New York who was worried about cow farts. You could probably pick them up. You know. And what's funny about the methanometer though, it says always make sure you check it against your safety lamp. So that's a lot. You know, here's this 21st century device, and you're telling me to check it against something that was made in 1829? Okay, but you're never gonna go in a mine where you don't find a miner's safety lamp. Then people always say, well, why don't you have any here? Well, we're not mining coal here. So we're just like a big cave right now. But in the old days, in the early days, they used a canary in a cage. They brought the canary in, set him up high, and watched him jingle jangle. He had a little bell on his neck, and he would jingle and jangle. I always wondered for all the years I've been doing this is why did they use canaries? So one year we had a Penn State group in here, and they were all I can never say that word. Avian bird? What's it? Avian birds? Is that
Avian, yeah.
Avian. They were avian majors with birds and chickens and all of that stuff. Well, the professor told me they use them because their respiratory system can't have any changes to it, and they get all worked up. I said, well, that assumes why I never thought they would use crows or robins or something, you know. But I said, thank you, sir. Now you have cured my problem, not knowing why.
I have a suggestion to help with the gas problem. Don't let the mountain eat Taco Bell anymore.
This is our mule barn, simulated mule barn of, remember we had 10 working mules down here. I can't speak more highly enough than the mine mules. They should have a monument for these guys and girls, because they work just as hard as any miners did and stuff. And they suffered just as much. The mule, extremely intelligent creature. Very, very strong. You know, a little cantankerous, as the saying goes, you know, stubborn as a mule. But what I love about them is when I talk to the old miners who work with these guys and girls, was that they were vindictive. If you hurt them in any manner, shape, or form, the miners said they had a memory like an elephant, and they would watch for you and wait for you to come down a gangway. That old Molly here would lean up against you and press you up against the wall, or she'd stand on your foot, or she'd bite you. But if she really hated your guts, she would give you what the miners call both barrels. Both barrels is a full kick to the rear. So, get kicked by a 900-pound animal wearing steel shoes. You're going to remember that. Because these guys and girls, they can kick like 12 feet in the air. They're extremely good at that. They were taken care of by a bunch of young lads they called driver boys. It was their job to teach them how to work down here because you didn't use a bit, bridle, or reins. The boys walked beside the mule or rode on the bumper of the car and gave the mule commands such as waha, which meant turn left, and yee, which meant turn right. These lads were also poets and songwriters, and back in the 19th century, at some point, I don't remember the exact date, they wrote a really neat little ditty about their thing with the mules, and it was called My Sweetheart's the Mule in the Mines. And it goes, my sweetheart's the mule in the mines. I drive her without reins or lines. On the bumper I sit, and tobacco I spit all over my sweetheart's behind. Casey Kasem would say on the charts. 1870, it's going up. Come on down here.
Sorry, man, I'm probably blinding you.
That's all right.
Not very good.
Capture. That doesn't work on video.
Screenshot.
Does that light help you?
Get it away.
Good?
That's a little disheartening right there. That mask he's wearing?
Yeah.
Should we continue on?
He's just randomly walking through the mines. Awesome.
If I didn't know who he was, we'd roll him in that way. Anyway, folks, this is the Little Buck Mountain vein right here. What happens here is they drove back to the wall back there, and it didn't work out so well. So they drove another 150, 200 foot down that direction. And what we have now is an empty gangway, see. But what they did was they left their tracks in here, on here, so that they could take the main cars off the main line and stick them in here, and they'd be out of the way. I remember when I told you about firing off shots, how the old guys used the squib charges with the fuses. Today we use dynamite. Dynamite is much easier to work with because it's fired electrically with blasting caps and such. Same situation though, you put them inside the shot hole, you tamp the one in there, and you run the wires back out to a handheld detonator. Now you can walk around, you don't have to run out right away, because you can walk out here and you can yell out 3 times. Fire in the hole, fire in the hole, fire in the hole. And this is exactly what it'll sound like when you shoot shots off down here. So, it's not as loud as you would think it is, primarily because those shots are driven way inside the coal. You want the coal to break internally. You don't want it to be blown out. Now the only thing we can't simulate here is all the dirt, dust, and smoke that comes flying out of here at the time. But if you guys want to come up here and get a shot in there, well, I'll shoot it off again for you if you want.
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Oh, he's going in.
You ready?
Bye, coal cracker. It was nice knowing you.
Housekeeping.
Leave it to you. Take a look up here, this is that second escape route I told you about that we have here to get out of the mine. But it's also a work and shoot. And when you see the light that's lit up there, that's only 1/3 of the way up. We have to go to the left a little bit more and go another 2/3 going up. Wow. But this is like a work and shoot here on this vein, because you would have to, 2 lads would be working here. Every day you'd have to drag all your tools, timbers, and shovels and picks all the way up there with you to do all the work you need to do. Yeah. Over here is an empty box that you can see all the way at the top up there where my lamp shines. That's where the coal is being held now. You would open up that box up there down to this area here, down in here. This is basted out here just to hold about 2 tons.
Wow.
That's fine, man. There he is.
What's this thing's name?
I don't know. Yeah.
You said that's 300 feet now?
We're at
That's the level 2, and then 300 feet below that's level 3.
What you're doing here is you're actually looking down that they mined up.
Yeah, so if we just looked at up there, that we're looking down from there.
That's why we don't have any change in the country.
Astronaut Scott Carpenter, Mercury capsule. Awesome.
One of them down there to go get it.
I'll go down and get it for you. I'll give you a couple pennies over it.
You are cheap.
Yeah, well, you know, we get to hang out in the mall.
Wow. Oh my. That is so steep.
My name is Richard. He's my cousin over across the road. Richards in this area here is like a smith, you know, we're all over the place. Yeah.
Okay, so since I'm the only one in this group that's been here before, consider my opinion is the best part of the tour.
Okay. Okay, when you want to get paid, what happens next is you have to go, your driver boy takes his, gets an empty car, brings the empty car in here, places it beneath the base of the chute. One mine car weighs 2 tons unloaded. Fully loaded, they're well over 4.5 tons. Now, one mine mule on a level grade like this can easily pull 3 fully loaded cars. So, the problem with these cars is they don't have any brakes. So in any type of an incline or a decline in the track, the worst thing you can have happen to you is have that car pull the mule over backwards or run up on his hind legs, because it would, you injure a mule for Philadelphia Reading coal and you're fired. You're not going to have another job in the pits. So the driver boy had a kid about 11 years of age and ran alongside of him. He carried one of these sprags, what they're called sprags, in his arms. He would insert the sprag in the open spoke portion of the wheel, and as the wheel rotated, he could, it acts not like a brake so much, but it'll drag the wheel down a little bit and it'll slow the car down and you know, save them. Trouble is, many of these kids tripped, fell, had their arms and legs cut off, or were crushed beneath the weight of the cars and died. Now, when the time comes to load the car, what happens is the miner sends his assistant, his call is butty. So if you're ever from the coal region, you heard that term 1,000 times, hey butt, oh butt. Butt-T, not butt, like your butt. But he sends his butt-T up into the top of the chute. He opens up a couple traps up there, drives it down to the battery here, where the miner's going to sit on the end of the battery here and drop his legs on the inside of the car. Now, if you guys turn your lights out, I'll show you what a working coal mine looks like, if you can still film that. You ready? Okay. This is what a working coal mine looks like. Now, when I said that the miner wants to load his car, what he's going to do is he's going to dangle his feet on the inside of the car, and as the coal rises up, he can feel it rise with his feet. Because in this dark light here, you can't see. But this is the way you work in a mine all the time. When we come in here in the wintertime to do all our work, this is what you work with your helmet lights and all of that stuff. So, now, say you lose your helmet, your light goes out, you're going to get this. Now, can you hide your extraneous light there on your phone? And I'll show you what real dark looks like. Okay? Wow. Now, we can't do it here without that. With all that extraneous light, still looks like we can find our way out of here. But if you didn't have your camera lights on and anything like that, you can't see 2 feet. You can't see your hand in front of your face, per se. But this is the way it would work out. So what would happen with the miners is they would just relight their lamps at the time, because they did have matches with them. And they would could also get down on the ground, find the track, put hand on one rail and the other hand on the other rail, and crawl out the middle of the track. That way it's going to give you, there he is again, slowly walking down. I caught a reflection on his helmet.
Is this the Halloween sport?
Yeah. There he is. He's our gas checker. Who's the Taco Bell guy?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Hey, you're the one that eats all the Taco Bell.
My Bloody Valentine 3.
Yeah. Any questions?
How young is the youngest person on record that mined?
The youngest person that mined? Probably about 14, 15. Inside the mine. Outside the mine, they were 6, 7, 8 years old. Inside, you had to be a little bit older to come inside. Like the driver boys, or the door boys. They were a little bit older. To be a miner, though, you had to have papers. Now, this is an interesting thing. In the 1830s, 1840s, the miners came down from England and Wales. They were all certified miners. 1840s, the Irish came here because of the potato famine. Philadelphia hired a bunch of Irishmen. The Irishmen didn't like the Welshmen and the English, and then they had problems here. Then they went from that point to 1880s, Italian people came here. They came, and now the Irish guys were the bosses, and the Italians were underneath them. And then in the 1890s, the Slavic Eastern Europeans came here. In the coal region here, we have one name for all Eastern Europeans. They call them a hunky. So whether you're Russian, Polish, Lithuanian, whatever, you're a hunky in that respect. They had to think. Now here's the important part. To become a miner, you had to be able to read, speak, and understand the English language. Nothing was handed to you. So these guys all, Philadelphia Reading Coal and Iron provided schools for them to learn English. So they learned English to become a miner. If you don't become a miner with papers, you're going to be a laborer your whole life, and that's hard work there. So, but there's must be 35 different jobs within a coal mine. There's timbermen, there's rockmen, there's all kinds of guys that do it. A miner basically goes up the chute, sets the shots, and fires off the shots, and then leaves, and let the laborers do all the other bad work. That's what comes from when you work with your family. I know that as a fact. So, when I was a kid, when I was 16, 17, 18, my family had
Okay guys, welcome back. We are back here at the Pioneer Mine Tunnel, and we're back here at the entrance, and we're done with here for today. We're going to head out over to Centralia. So again, if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, ring that notification bell to receive notifications when I upload new videos. It's been a great day. I've learned a lot, in addition to other things that I knew about coal mining from living in coal mining regions. So I've had a wonderful time. Thanks for coming along. I will see you guys later at our next stop. I might make that into another video because got a lot of content here today for this video, so probably make that into another video. So thanks for joining Out and About Science Mr. G today, and Olivia here today, and and scientists everywhere. What will you find?